Have you ever been shopping online and thought to yourself, this is really cool and all, I just wish it was way less convenient, way more expensive, and had no fraud protection whatsoever? Because if so, you would absolutely love Kickstarter, the place where you can buy any stupid arrangement of things from a vertical lunchbox to AI-generated cookbooks, and if you're lucky, you might even receive the item. Now, if you're wondering why I say might, well, here's a bit of a story for you. So here is how a shocking amount of projects on this website go. A startup company makes a project, let's humor them and say they had good intentions in the first place, which a lot of them don't.
That's it. We'll set up a Kickstarter for the $3,000 we need. But Brian, people don't just donate money on Kickstarter. It has to go towards some sort of project. Okay, then we'll say we're making a movie. We'll raise the money we need, and then email the backers saying we ran into trouble and couldn't finish the project. Great idea, Brian.
They come up with their idea, create a prototype or a proof of concept, and make a well-fleshed-out project page. They then receive a lot of interest in the form of what's supposed to be orders of their product. But they see a big dollar sign, and then they realize, wait a minute, there is nothing stopping me from just dashing with all this money right now. So now they don't want to give you the thing they promised, they just want the money. So here's where the problem arises. You would think there's some level of accountability or verification on Kickstarter's part. Well, no. Not really. There's absolutely nothing stopping them from just unlisting every bit of contact info at any point. And of course, the money you pledge is immediately accessible by the project creator. And I'm not saying that shouldn't be the case. I mean, if the money was on hold until they fulfilled all their orders, they may not actually have the resources to fulfill the orders, which would defeat the entire purpose of the website to begin with. So all that's really being asked of Kickstarter is to lock down the info panel of project creators so they can't just disappear with $500,000 like they do shockingly frequently. And by the way, this is far from a recent issue. It's been one of many massive stains on the platform for the better part of 10 years. But according to people on the official Kickstarter subreddit who white knight them anyways, it's not their fault. You think just because they didn't send you a product you paid for, it's a scam? Facebook and Twitter are worse anyways. That is not how that works, or at least it's not how it should work. Because as true as that may be, another website being worse doesn't give Kickstarter an excuse to leave such an oversight in place, especially for as long as they have. Because there's no way they don't know it's happening, they just continue to turn a blind eye because they get to keep a percentage of the stolen money. But that's called crowdfunding, buddy. Why are you so bent out of shape about not receiving your $200 thermometer? How much copium do you have to be huffing to see somebody get screwed over this badly and say that's just how it works? This is the OG version of a crypto rug pull. The only difference is there's people defending the rug puller. So what does Kickstarter have to say about all this? Well, actually, it's your fault. You should have known they'd run away with the money. Never mind the fact that they themselves endorse many of these scam projects. What do you want, some kind of safeguards? Plus, it's only been 8 months of radio silence since they scrubbed their entire social media presence. They're probably just overwhelmed. So come on, guys. Stop being so mean. Their actual answer to the question, was I scammed, is try messaging the creator. If they don't respond, we'll try messaging them. But what happens if they don't respond to Kickstarter? They revoke account privileges. You know, from the account that's been abandoned. So thanks for that, I guess. Go fund another project in the meantime. Imagine ordering something from Amazon. And by the way, I know this isn't an e-commerce website, but once again, that doesn't give them an excuse to not monitor what's going on their website, especially when such a simple change could fix the entire problem. Imagine ordering something from Amazon. It never arrives, but they take your money anyways, and they instruct you to order something else. But rant over. That's not really the point of this video. I really just want to talk about some stupid projects that make way more money than they deserve to, and maybe even figure out why. Starting with this one, the Bullet Mini Magnetic Keychain Flashlight. So upon first glance, you're probably thinking this thing has to do something that no other flashlight does. I mean, these people are asking for your money for a product that doesn't even exist yet. But you'd be completely wrong for assuming that, because this is just a flashlight. And it's so similar to other things on the market that it actually kind of blows my mind. Hell, this company's made 4 that are almost identical, and this is their 5th. And their claims are so confusing. Like fireproof? What do you mean it's fireproof? They don't even explain what that means. Does it mean it has one of those auto off functions, like when you sit it down on its face, it just automatically turns off so it doesn't catch itself on fire? But if it did, you would think they would show that off in one of their 18 infographics that they display. But no, they don't really expand upon it. It just says fireproof. So maybe it's just that it's made of metal. I don't know. And all of their selling points are like this. 100 lumens, which is incredibly dim, by the way. That's not much brighter than your iPhone's flashlight. A magnetic tail cap. Telescopic zoom. Once again, something that almost every flashlight has. And then they go on to repeat those 4 things like 10 more times to make it seem like it has more features than it does. You know, it's just a bunch of marketing garbage. But my favorite is right here, where they say, bullet isn't afraid to stick out. Literally. The built-in magnet lets you transform any surface into your personal lighting station. Stick it to your tent, car hood, or even your backpack for hands-free illumination. Why the fuck are you telling me how to use a magnet? To be clear, I'm not mad at this project. It's just so uneventful. And that's really what makes this next part so interesting. So this thing costs $25, which is totally fair, except the MSRP is actually $35, which is still semi-reasonable. But if you go back to the project to order it, it's actually $30, not $25. And the early bird special claims to be $35 for 2 with an MSRP of $70. But once again, you go back to order it and it's $45. Wait, no, it's $50. Are they changing the price that often? It's like some NZXT pricing. So given all we've gone over, how much money do you assume this project made, given their pledge of $5,000? Probably like 6, maybe 7, given it actually met its goal, right? No. Try 70. What blows my mind here is this isn't even an invention. This doesn't solve a problem that nothing else can, or even in a way that nothing else does. My question is, what the hell is the point of this being a Kickstarter page? Why would you order this thing to have it delivered in June when you could order literally any alternative to this thing on the market, of which there's a whole host of, pay the same amount or less, and have it in 2 days? What's the point? The Mi Belly Smart Fit electronic belt. Now, if you're anything like me, you may have winced at the title of this one, because one of the worst trends with these new inventions is everything needing to be electronic, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Who remembers the Juicero? If you remember this thing, first of all, you're old as shit, because 2017 was 8 years ago. But it was basically this $400 machine that made juice. The only issue was you had to buy these packets of severely overpriced vegetables, and quite literally all the machine does is squeeze the bag. You may see where I'm going with this. Wait a minute, I can just squeeze the bag myself. Wait a minute, this is $8 for 50 cents worth of carrots. Now what? Like, there's no point to the whole thing. Every bit of it was overpriced. Of course, it required a Wi-Fi connection, because why wouldn't it? How do you expect it to squeeze a bag unless it has gigabit fiber? Comment Juicero if you remember this scam. Anyway, the same applies to this thing. Do I really need a belt that I have to charge? And what does it even do? It dynamically tensions itself? Okay. Under the normal belt, they say requires manual loosening/tightening, as if that's ever been a problem for anyone with proper motor controls. On second thought, maybe this is for the disabled or elderly, except I don't even think they realize that, because their models make it seem like it's for perfectly able-bodied men who just inflate at random. What the fuck is happening? And as you may have guessed, with this being an electronic device that shouldn't be one, it's way too expensive for what it is. Also, you're wearing a lithium-ion battery, which that's terrifying to me, because every time I see like some heated jacket or something that you have to wear with a battery in it, I just think of the Galaxy Note 7 that combusted so frequently that even today they're still not allowed on planes. And that was a phone. Imagine if you were wearing it. But that aside, I see how this could be kind of useful, I guess. But to me, having to charge my belt is just way more of a burden than manually adjusting it. I just feel like charging your belt would be such a headache. Oh yeah, my belt's dead. VLB, the vertical lunchbox. So admittedly, I don't really have a lot to critique with this one. It actually looks like a good amount of genuine engineering went into this. The only question I can't seem to answer is why? Why is it useful for your lunchbox to be vertical? It's not even necessarily that overpriced. I mean, it looks pretty nice. I just don't really understand why being vertical would be desirable. Anyways, next product. Flavors of Constantinople. Timeless recipes explored. Plus other books. The amount of books on here is actually kind of crazy to me. 80% of the stuff on this website is books, or art, or comic books, or something. And like, yeah, the food looks kind of good, I guess, but just like go get a loan or contact a publisher, right? I mean, not that I know how to publish a book. I definitely don't. It just seems like kind of a weird choice to make something like this on Kickstarter. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. It's probably that. Wait a minute. I just read the bottom of this. This must have been added after I initially rounded these up because I never noticed this. They used AI to generate this book. So theoretically, they don't even have to make the food in order to get a picture of it for this book. They can just make shit up and be like, yeah, that sounds pretty good, and sell it to you. At that point, why would I buy this? I can just ask ChatGPT to make me a kebab recipe because that's literally what they did. The only difference is you have to pay for it. Oh my God. We have AI Kickstarter projects now. Next product. Ninja, I'm not going to say that. That might sound racist. Become a ninja with style. This is actually pretty cool. I actually want this. At first, I couldn't decide if this was stupid or awesome, but I'm leaning towards the latter. I was actually going to order this because it would be kind of boss, I think. And I'm really glad it's met its goal because when I saw the estimated delivery date, I realized I don't have nearly that much patience. So I'll probably just forget about it. And when I do receive it, I'll just be like, what the fuck is this thing? But at this point, given it's met its goal, it should be a real product, ideally. So I can order it whenever it actually comes out. I'll probably forget, but then I can finally sit in the shower as the water washes over me, cosplaying as a ninja sitting on a rooftop. I mean, I already do that, but now I can do it more authentically and feel like a real ninja. Next product, the Tempit, the first 4-in-1 cooking thermometer with Wi-Fi. Now, unsurprisingly, I'm not really concerned with 3 out of the 4 of these functions. It's really the wireless grilling that I'm worried about, because I've had 2 wireless thermometers in the past, the first of which being the Ninja Pro Chef, which I almost never bothered using because you have to fuck with it for like 15 minutes to get it to connect to your phone. So whatever was on the grill or in the oven was already completely burnt by the time you got it to work. So one day, about a year ago, I saw a Yummly on sale at Lowe's. I'd heard about them and I said, you know what? I hate my current one. I'll give this one a try. It looks like it gets good reviews. You know, it seems like people like it. This thing was somehow even more frustrating than my last one. It not only struggled to find the base like my last one, this one's signal strength was so weak that even when I did miraculously manage to connect it to my phone, it would disconnect the second I closed the oven. But the funniest interaction I had with it was when I wrapped a rack of beef ribs in aluminum foil, and this thing just couldn't do it. This thing's connection is so hilariously weak that it can't transmit through aluminum foil. And Google tells me aluminum foil can block Bluetooth, but riddle me this, if that's wrong, then this thing's a piece of junk. But if it's true, then why do they advertise it as being a grill thermometer? Because if it can't transmit through aluminum foil, it's sure as hell not going to transmit through a grill. And from personal experience, it doesn't, which literally defeats the entire purpose. It's useless otherwise. You're not going to put this thing in something you're cooking in a pan, it would just get in the way. And as if that wasn't enough, they decided to add insult to injury, and in late November, they made this announcement. As of December 18th, 2024, the Yummly Smart Thermometer app will no longer be functional. This change is part of Yummly's transition as we permanently shut down our website and mobile apps. We understand this may impact your cooking experience, and we're here to help. If you're a Yummly Smart Thermometer owner, you can contact customer support for assistance and learn about available options. Please be prepared to have your smart thermometer's purchase receipt and details when you reach out. It's been our privilege to support your culinary adventures, and we hope the Yummly Smart Thermometer made cooking smarter, simpler, and more delightful for you. Holy shit. So effectively, they just turned every one of these machines into e-waste, just like that. Which, if you ask me, it already kind of was, because it didn't work for me even one time. But now presumably millions of these things that cost $150 are now reduced to garbage. Now, I didn't spend that much on it, thank God, but I imagine most people probably did. And this may seem unrelated, but the reason I really mention all of this is because as I went a bit further into examining this Tempit thermometer, I saw this. If you scroll all the way down, you'll see where it says, our partnerships with industry leaders like Yummly and Whirlpool further demonstrate our ability to create products that integrate seamlessly into connected ecosystems. First of all, that makes this effectively a Yummly with some extra attachments. But second of all, what do you mean integrate seamlessly into connected ecosystems? They just bricked every device they ever sold less than 2 months ago. So overall, this is yet another project that's just an already existing product. It's just a thermometer. But unlike, say, the bullet flashlight, this one's actually a bit upsetting because it's not only the price being insultingly high, they're also involving themselves directly with a company that just screwed over their entire consumer base. But that still doesn't stop this project from doubling its pledged goal and receiving the Kickstarter stamp of approval. So this got me wondering. There has to be something I'm missing here, and surprise, there absolutely is. So I spent the first bit of this video just shitting on these projects, some of which was absolutely deserved, genuinely confused as to how something so uncompetitive or inconvenient could possibly garner so much money. And the template thermometer is the perfect example. It already exists, it's overpriced, and it takes 6 months to maybe receive it. And yet it still somehow makes a shit ton of money anyway? But I found that it comes down to a few key factors. Does it look professional? I see plenty of great ideas on this website that either fall short of their goal or never gain any traction at all, simply because their story page looks like a rough draft someone slapped together in an hour. Take this project for example. It's active right now. It's absolutely nothing crazy, but it's way more creative of an idea than just about anything else we've looked at in this video. But he describes the product using walls of words where he repeats himself constantly. The pictures of his prototype are on his kitchen counter, and his spec sheet looks like it was made in MS Paint. And yes, I'm aware he's just a kid. It looks like he's probably in high school, but genuinely, he already made a prototype. That's 90% of the work, so he's obviously a very smart kid who's put a lot of work into designing this. So why does his page look like shit? That's the most important part, and I don't think he realizes that. Because seriously, if you were to make this look as professional for the page as like the bullet flashlight or the template thermometer, it would probably raise quite a lot of money. Is the idea silly? Sure, but it's not like it stopped any of these other projects from raising a load of money. This would totally fit in on the featured page. Hell, the number 1 and 2 featured projects currently on this website are AI glasses, which, don't get me wrong, the spec sheet on this one's actually kind of impressive, and they do a really good job of selling you on the utility, but I just kind of thought we already learned our lesson on the AI accessories more than a couple of times. Clearly not though, because both of these have raised over $1 million. Persuasive techniques. I'd say the most useful strategy you can employ if you have a new product idea is inserting yourself into your target consumer's life. If you can make it seem useful to the type of person you see consuming or buying your product, you got it. In fact, I have the perfect example right here. The Peak Design Backpack. This company is responsible for some of the most successful Kickstarter projects of all time, and for good reason. Now, I'm not going to be a shill. I'm not selling you this bag or anything. It's just a good example of what makes a Kickstarter project. And it's far from a perfect product, but this company single-handedly revolutionized the entire EDC or photography gear industry as a whole, both of them really, inspiring a whole host of copycats from many of their products, some of which are secretly better, but most people don't care about that because their ethos is absolutely off the charts. Everybody has this backpack, not just photographers. Johnny Harris wears it in just about every walking away from the camera shot. Ryan Trahan uses it in the Penny series. Marquez Brownlee even uses it. And at the end of the day, just like those other 2 products we talked about, it's just a decent backpack. So my takeaway from this whole Kickstarter endeavor is that's really all it takes. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or anything like that. As long as it's clear what your product does and it looks high quality, you pretty much can't lose. Because you and me both know why I bought that, because it makes me feel cool. So there you go. That's your entire bachelor's degree in marketing summarized in less than 5 minutes. But that's about all I got for you today, apart from this very exciting announcement. So first of all, sorry about the accidental vacation I took. I got the flu, and then I had a sinus infection. It's a long story, but basically it happened in a way that delayed this video severely because I sounded like shit. So in the meantime, I've written the scripts for like 5 videos, so there's content coming soon, 100%. So the good news is that should expedite the speed of the upcoming content, but I'm going to be live streaming. That's the announcement, by the way. And no, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop making these. I'm totally going to continue doing commentary. I may pivot a little bit in terms of my style. I'm still kind of figuring that out, but I don't plan on stopping them altogether by any means. But if you want to hear me go a little bit more in depth into my content plans as a whole, tune in. The time will be probably right there for my first stream because I don't quite know exactly when it's going to be yet. I'm moving right now. I don't know if you can tell there's stuff missing up there. So once I get to the new place is when I'll probably have my first stream. I say first, I have streamed before to nobody, but this one will hopefully be a lot more organized and better. I have a whole playlist and all kinds of stuff set up for you guys. I think it'll be great. But yeah, if you want to hear my content plans a little bit more in depth or just hang out, to be honest, tune in. I think it'll be a fun time. But if you're this far in the video and you still haven't subscribed, Seriously, come on. It really helps me out. It brings me one step closer to doing this full time, which is kind of my dream, to be honest. I think it'd be very cool. See ya.